This passion comes from the fact of being an artist and a maker that also cares a lot about the environment. I still get surprised by how nature can help us so much. We look for the most traditional way to make soap and salves. It is a huge path. I started this as a hobby with my sister back in 2018. We started with Castile soap, which is a soap that I saw since I was really little in the middle of the street in towns in the north of Spain, in which ladies would take big barrels and would stir the soap with a big stick in the middle of the street, in the middle of the square. After a time, you will see this big block of soap for laundry. And I remember asking my mother, what is that and how it's made? And it was this huge block of soap that then it was long lasting for laundry, for dishes. So that kept in my mind a little bit until I decided to do it at home with my sisters to save money and to know how really the soap was made. Namawe was born out of need and curiosity. I'm a really old-fashioned maker. So I focus on solutions that used to work really good in the past. The lockdown was a moment to do many things that I never had the time to do. That stubbornness made me create my own products, my own skincare and my own household remedies. But as a hobby, you see, it's so funny because I was never good with plants. I was afraid in the past that I would kill them. I was like, not interested at all.
When Maria was teaching me how to make soap, I didn't think that soap needed to be as exact as she was making it. I was rounding 0.5 grams up or 0.5 grams down, and she was making note that I needed to be really, really precise. And I didn't think that soap needed to be that precise. But we measure everything to the smallest digit we can because the mechanism of making soap is changing all the time.
We are going through the delicate process of mixing the lye with seaweed water, which is half frozen. The water is really hot. It is going up over 173 Fahrenheit degrees to about 95.
I didn't know anything about soap when Maria started making it in the house. All I knew was that it was something that took up a lot of the kitchen, and she was doing it while I was at work and trying to make sure that it was finished by the time we came home for lunch or needed to make dinner. And when the opportunity to come have this store, we had to do it together because it was too much to manage. And she asked me if I would come along on the journey, just knowing that we could do it together, and I didn't even hesitate. Didn't even hesitate for a second.
So the water is now cooling down. It's 137 degrees Fahrenheit, and we need it to go down until about 95 degrees Fahrenheit to be aligned with the oil and the butters that are melting now. Why do they need to be at the same temperature? Because otherwise the oils would get harder if they are down, or in the case of the water being too high or the oils being too high, what it will create into the essential oils that are coming after is that they will degrade. So we need that 95 degrees Fahrenheit to conserve the essential oils.
My favorite thing about Maria is that she's uncompromising when it comes to quality, like just will not settle for anything less. And I studied economics in college. I'm a trained economist, and when I came on board, it was sort of, you have this approach like, how do I cut costs? How do I make something cheaper? And she just wasn't about that. It wasn't about making a cheap product. It was just about making the best product with the ingredients that we have.
Now, what we are looking for is to mix them long enough so that we reach a point that is called trace.
You start to see the movement of the blender. And it's just a sign that now it's more of a custard than it is a liquid. All of the oils are beginning that saponification process, and they turn into a harder consistency, which we then pour into these molds where they'll cool.
We don't want any bubbles, that's
No
why
bubbles.
we are using the spatula.
Yep. And
we pour into the spatula.
yeah. And then all that water will continue to evaporate over the next 4 weeks.
It's just basically to make sure that the bubbles are gone.
So there's no holes in the soap. It's cool when you have people in the shop, because then they can pick up the thing and they can smell it, and they start to see, oh wow, these are actually the ingredients that go into a thing that's being made, rather than they just see the soap, but they can smell the coconut and all of its like contingent parts.
This is our walk in the forest soap that I made in between 12 and 24 hours ago. I let it sit to harden, which has red cedar, eucalyptus and pine. So it's this minty flavor to open your lungs and visualize that you are walking into a natural forest. The process of making the soap is getting this oil infused, the herbs, for 4 weeks. We are using all that we have around, all the weeds that we don't know about, to infuse our products with nature-made remedies that can save your skin, that can heal you and change your life. I'm really proud to be part of it, and I hope all of you will enjoy my products.